fairly and equitably. Despite these rights, to be treated fairly, equitably, our children are still sidelined with resources and activities that can progressively enhance or advance them, more particularly the Khoisan brown child. Eldorado Park and many other colored areas are typical examples of marginalization, where no infrastructure or development has happened for the last decades. Freedom Park came up years after the establishment of Eldorado Park, has been developed and advanced progressively, such as housing, schools, libraries, technology, and our brown child till date has been denied their basic constitutional rights. Instead, our colored communities are drowned with drugs and gangsterism by the very same people that are supposed to protect our children. I ask myself very often these questions. As the second largest racial group in South Africa, is there a deliberate attempt to destroy our colored children? Is there a direct correlation between the oppressors, our government, who holds the power currently in their hands and fails to act positively in these communities, and deliberately keeping our children enslaved and intoxicated with substance abuse? Is it because we don't burn down infrastructures, that our plights and interventions have repeatedly been ignored? Do they not want to advance our children? Can they not see that educational interventions, recreational sports, arts and culture, extra-mural activities are a dire need and not a luxury in these communities? Despite criminal defamation of character, harassment being known as criminal offences, to further exacerbate the challenges in our communities, we have teachers in our schools who further mentally and emotionally demoralizes and degrade our children. They are ruthless, unscrupulous, and unethical teachers who habitually discourages our children. Sorry guys, there's lots of pages here. To excel, breaking their spirit, and even going so far as saying to the children, "You must just die or leave school." Our own colored teachers that should have never been allowed to enter into this calling of this precious teaching profession, that must teach and groom our tender and impressionable souls. These teachers have no compassion and empathy for all the social ills our children and our community faces, nor do they have the wisdom to support, mentor, and develop our children under these challenging circumstances. When they are dealing with poverty, GBV, and so many social ills, nor do they have the understanding and the compassion for the growth and development of our children. It is an appalling shame and a crime to humanity that our own people do this to our children and cause them such grievous mental, emotional, and psychological harm. Teachers, if you are listening, you are entrusted by God with these lives of these children. You are accountable before God and legally. Your words have power in making or breaking their lives. A direct correlation exists between kids' experience at home and schools and what they ultimately become in life. It is so sad that so many of our children's voices have not been heard, fears and humiliations have not been addressed, and end up committing suicide because of this type of conduct from teachers. Our kids find themselves in downward spirals of substance abuse and other social ills that is already plaguing our communities. Parents, you too have an equal, important role to play in our children's lives. Remember, you have a divine and an ordained responsibility before God and the law to ensure that our children are treated with dignity and respect. Don't break a bird's wings and expect it to fly. Other teachers are so intentionally racially discriminative in our teaching, in their teaching of the black and colored child, where they consciously teach in the classroom in their mother tongues, in a colored area, where black languages is not an official language, nor taught in our schools, nor exercised as a home language in these communities. In the process, excludes our brown child from progressive, pleasant, and professional learning experience in our schools. This is a clear violation of our children's constitutional right, and a legal case can be made civilly and criminally. This has been condoned and tolerated and swept under the carpet by the Department of Education, or just blatantly ignores when complained about by the community. To those teachers that are serving our communities with dignity and pride, motivating and inspiring and unleashing the best in our children, we say thank you and continue to be role models in our communities. The crime stats that is not correctly being reported to the provincial and national office, nor properly executed through the criminal justice system, while we see it escalating daily. Mothers are losing their children to gang violence. Bullying in schools cannot be overlooked. While this is a top government priority on their list, why are colored areas being overlooked when it has been making headlines in the news for decades? It is for this reason that the Black Entrepreneurs Alliance Women's Chapter are calling the Deputy Minister of Police, the Minister of Justice, the Deputy President to Eldorado Park, and dates will be communicated soon. The narrative of the Khoisan and colored child will and must change. We are very deliberate in rising up as a community and wholeheartedly are very appreciative and profoundly supportive of initiatives like this that will advance our children, irrespective of their race, color, or creed. To our neighboring communities, Meadowlands, Annandale, Ekurhuleni, and others that have reached out to us, your request to roll out initiatives to your communities will be honored in partnership and collaborative efforts. We will not be revengeful to exclude any child in our community, irrespective of race, color, or creed, because it is not in our nature as Khoisan colored people to be punishing innocent people that are not responsible for the government's deliberate exclusion of the colored people and have been our oppressors for decades. If there is one trait of our colored race, it is that we are open-hearted and embrace all races, just as we invited them into our land as the First Nation. Our silence as the colored race have in the last few decades been mistaken as weakness. But our votes in the 2024 elections spoke volumes and will continue to echo our frustrations in the 2027 elections. Remember this, your power and mandates derives from us, the people, and will be removed by us, the people. Keep testing our patience and silence, but watch our resilience. Today we make a clarion and unequivocal call to the GNU and all government departments to make our colored areas a priority with immediate effect for development and our upgrades of infrastructures, housing, educational advancement initiatives such as this, skills development on all NQF levels, extramural activities for our children, the building and or restoration of recreational, sports, arts and culture facilities. We are also saying the great anticipated Southern Farms project will benefit our community at large from Eldorado Park. We have many struggling mothers, child-headed homes, disability people, and stressed entrepreneurs that have for decades been excluded from funding opportunities and other initiatives, and we are forced out of employment due to the well-intended but discriminatory, racially motivated and poorly executed BEE and the employment equity laws. We have been sidelined for long enough. It is in the apartheid era and post-apartheid era. Enough is enough. We will now claim and enforce our native and constitutional rights as the First Nation. And in the renowned words of Nelson Mandela that said, to be free is not merely to cast off one's chains, but to live in a way that respects and enhances the freedom and rights of others. To our children today and to the youth, remember that our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light and not our darkness that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, or fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. You playing small doesn't serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that others or other people won't feel insecure around you. We were born to manifest the glory of God that is within us. It is not just in some of us, it is in everyone. And as we let our light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our fears, our presence automatically liberates others. Now, stand up. Dare to dream so big that it scares you and those around you, not letting anyone deter you from becoming the best version of yourself and fulfill God's intended purpose